Well, that's okay. We're still going to read anyway. So, Jack and Jill went up the hill to fetch a pail of water. Jack fell down and broke his crown, and Jill came tumbling after. And we're going to read a story called Goodnight ABCs. It's a bedtime alphabet lullaby. A is for adore. You fill my days with endless joy. B is for bedtime, when we put away our toys. C is for cozy in a warm bubble tub. D is for ducky as you scrub a dub-dub. E is for tired eyes, you'll close them tonight. F is for fireflies, lighting up the night. G is for grateful, for our family and friends. G is for Miss Gina, Gina spells my name. H is for hugs and sharing love that never ends. I is for imagine, we love to play pretend. J is for jammies as the day comes to an end. K is for kisses softly placed on both your cheeks. L is for lullaby, I'll sing you off to sleep. M is for moon glowing high up in the sky. N is for nightlight, warm and bright right by your side. O is for once upon a time, your favorite story read. P is for pillow, now lay down your sleepy head. Q is for quiet as we whisper goodnight. R is for rest as we turn off the light. S is for snuggle, with the loveys burrowed deep. T is for tucked in with your blankies bound for sleep. U is for undercovers pulled up to your chin. V is for voyage, let your dreamland quest begin. W is for wish upon the brightest evening star. X is for XOXO, hugs and kisses, hugs and kisses. My love will send you far. Y is for yawns and for memories to keep. Z is for zzz, as at last you fall asleep. Now we say sweet dreams, sleep tight from A to Z. Good night. This next story is Snoopy and Woodstock, best friends forever. Snoopy and Woodstock are best friends. They play together. They share secrets. They share snacks. But how did they meet? When did they become friends? Woodstock chirps at Snoopy. Snoopy speaks fluent bird. He understands exactly what Woodstock is saying. You want to hear the story of how we met? Okay, Snoopy says. Snoopy goes into his doghouse and comes back out with a photo album. One day I woke up from a nap and discovered someone had built a nest on my stomach, Snoopy says. I thought to myself, the next thing you know, there will be baby birds. Those baby birds were cute, but they chirped all day and all night long, Snoopy continues. So I would gently hum a sweet song, and after a little while, both baby birds would fall asleep. I kept waiting for the baby birds to fly away, but there was just one problem. They didn't know how to fly. I was getting impatient. They kept trying fancy moves. They would stand on my nose and flap their wings. I wanted them to just fly away. Finally, one of the birds just took off. I was so happy. Go, bird, go, I cheered. But he was back almost immediately. The next thing I knew, he was hanging on my nose with all his might, as if he never wanted to let go. The next time the birds tried to fly, I took their nests so they could not come back. Go, birds, go! You're on your own, I shouted. I waved goodbye. They were shocked, to say the least. Woodstock chirps at Snoopy. He knew Woodstock was asking him what happened next. I started to feel a little guilty, Snoopy says. I felt bad for making the birds leave their home so soon. But then I looked up and thought that they were probably up in the clouds somewhere flying and having a good time. I was wrong. One bird kept coming back again and again, Snoopy continued. He smiles at Woodstock. It was you, Snoopy says. Woodstock tells Snoopy he doesn't know what kind of bird he is. Does Snoopy? I'm not sure, Snoopy tells him. I know you're not an eagle because you don't like heights, Snoopy says. And you're not a duck, Snoopy continues, because you can't swim. So I don't know what kind of bird you are either. But to these buddies, it really doesn't matter what kind of bird Woodstock is. And it shows them playing swords, playing football, playing ice hockey in the bird bath, cooking s'mores over a campfire, and Woodstock lugging Snoopy's golf clubs. Because Snoopy and Woodstock will always be best friends forever. They're on top of the doghouse, and Snoopy is hugging Woodstock really tightly. So this book is about a baseball player. It's a childhood of famous Americans. One of the baseball's greatest. He was a baseball player, and his name was Lou Gehrig. So we're going to start. Lou Gehrig, one of baseball's greatest. To every youngster everywhere who loves the game of baseball. Louis dashed up the stairs. Page 23. Oh, it starts with Christmas, it looks like. Let's see. It says... Oh, that's the illustrations. Merry Christmas, page 11, table of contents. Merry Christmas! Shh, said Mom Gehrig. 2 fat walnuts clattered on the bare floor. Shh, said Pop Gehrig. He picked them up carefully and put them in a stocking hanging from the edge of the table. The stocking was shabby and darned in many places. That means they had to sew it and patch it. But now it looked interesting. It bulged here and it bulged there. It was full of oranges and nuts and Christmas cookies. Don't wake Louie, whispered Mom Gehrig. She tied a red paper bell on the branch of a small pine tree standing on the table. It was a very tiny pine tree. In fact, it was really the tip top of a huge tree that had been cut off before it would go indoors. But Mom Gehrig was glad to have this small piece. She felt pleased that she had been walking along Fifth Avenue when the tiny tree was about to be thrown out. Maybe it wouldn't have looked so nice in one of the big houses on the avenue, but in the little Gehrig apartment, it was just right. Just then there was a noisy clatter outside. A streetcar rushed past. I guess if the streetcars don't wake him, these walnuts won't, said Pop. New York is not a very quiet place to live. In the next room, Louis stirred in his sleep. He was used to streetcars, but he had heard the walnuts fall. Still, he was sleeping so soundly, it took him a long time to wake up. Finally, he opened his eyes. It's Christmas Eve, he thought, with sudden excitement. Louis pushed back the covers. He swung his feet over the edge of his cot. He crept over to the door, and quietly as he could, carefully he avoided the low sink piled with clean dishes. He slept in the kitchen. His parents slept in the other room. Very softly he opened the door a little. He peeped through the crack. He was surprised to see Mom and Pop. They weren't in bed. Then he saw the little tree in the stocking. Santa Claus has already been here, he thought. The next minute he forgot about Santa Claus. He forgot about everything except the beautiful object lying on the table. It couldn't be, but there it was, a real baseball glove, a catcher's mitt for him. Louis was only 5 years old, going on 6. That Christmas of 1908, he had wished for a baseball glove for a long, long time. He really never expected to have one. Pages are stuck. They cost so much. Mom and Pop worked hard, but they never had extra money for things like toys or baseball gloves. They had to spend all their money just for things that were needed. Louie's eyes were glued to the crack. He studied every detail of that catcher's mitt. He almost burst into the room. He wanted to hold the mitt in his hands and try it on. He whacked it with his fist and pretended he was really catching at home plate like the older boys he had watched. Now he'd show the gang. Now they wouldn't keep him out of their games because he was too young. Oh, he'd let them all use the mitt, of course. They'd like it as much as he would. But now they would let him play too. Just as he was about to push through the door, Louie remembered. Mom told me to stay in bed till morning. She wouldn't like it if I went in there now. Very unwillingly, he crawled back into bed. He wondered if Mom and Pop had seen Santa Claus bring the tree and fill the stocking. He went back to sleep, dreaming of the wonderful catcher's mitt and everything he would do with it. Before he knew it, morning had come. At 6 o'clock, Louie slipped out of bed. He was in such a hurry he could hardly get his clothes on. Then Mom came in. "Merry Christmas, Louie," she beamed. "Merry Christmas, Mom," said Louie. "Come in and see what Santa Claus brought." Santa Claus? Louie wanted to ask if Mom and Pop had seen him. But then he shouldn't have been peeking. Should he ask? Yes, he could tell Mom what he had seen. He could always tell her the truth. "Mom," he said timidly, "did you see Santa Claus? Did you see him come? I woke up and peeked in and saw the tree and stocking and everything." Mom Garrick was thunderstruck. She thought, those walnuts. Oh, but Pop was clumsy. Then she said, "No, Louie, we weren't quick enough, but we heard him. So we got up to see what he brought. Come in and now and see for yourself." Louie shot into the next room. In a moment, he had the catcher's mitt in his hands. It was a beauty. He rubbed the cool leather. Then he put it on. It was wonderful. He thumped it and thumped it. He held it up and pretended to be catching a high fly. Then he pretended to throw a ball to second, and he thought, "This is funny. Something is wrong with this mitt." He always threw with his left hand, but the catcher's mitt fitted his left hand instead of his right. Since he was left-handed, he always caught with his right hand. He tried putting the mitt on his right hand. It didn't fit very well, for the big padded thumb was on the wrong side. Still, it was a beauty, and it was his. Somehow, he'd make it work. Besides, all the other kids were right-handed. It would fit them fine. He started to tell Mom and Pop, but then he thought, Santa Claus might hear me, and he wouldn't like that. Then, too, Mom and Pop just didn't understand baseball. Louie looked over to where they were watching him. They were smiling and nodding their heads. "It must be a good one," said Mom. "This baseball is very important in America," said Pop. "And Louie is a real little American. He likes it so much." "I was born right here in New York, wasn't I, Mom?" Louie chimed in. "Yes, Louie, and you're a lucky boy," said his mother. "Your Pop and I had to come all the way across the ocean to the United States. But we came to find good work where everybody has a chance, not to play baseball." "Now, Christina," said Pop. He and Louie laughed at the idea of Mom playing baseball. "Well, if Louie likes it, it will keep him busy." "When we have to be away from home working," agreed Mom good-naturedly. Louie placed a sofa pillow on the floor. Louie placed a sofa pillow on the floor. He stood behind it in a crouch. He held out his hands just the way the other boys did. "Shoot one over the plate," he shouted. He thumped the new mitt. And then the next chapter will be called Let's play ball. So we'll read that next time. So I hope you enjoyed that, and I'll see you next time. Remember to read more in 2025 and keep your mind alive. Bye-bye.